Hey, I'm Noel. I'm the editor of enduro.media, and welcome to episode 4 of the Enduro Bureau Podcast. With me are my partners in crime, Courtney Schmalley. Hey, Courtney.
What up? How's it going?
What up, G?
Classic.
Classic.
That's how I roll.
Yeah, I'm the least cool person and hip person you've ever met, so I enjoyed saying that. It made me feel good for a second there. Jared,
Good.
what's going on with you, man?
Oh, the same old. Just got off work, working on dirt bikes, and back to the pod. Looking forward to it.
Have you guys got any riding in with all the dump of snow that we had this week in Alberta?
Not this week. It didn't start getting warmer till today, like -1. But from here on out, it's like +12 the rest of the week. So we'll be getting lots of seat time in.
Yeah, we just got like hammered with snow the last 2 days of cold. It was like pretty much all gone, and then we got 6 inches. It was crazy, and then so we're back to some snow, and then well that doesn't stop us. We just don't like anything past -2.
Yeah.
So tomorrow we'll be back on it, slipping and sliding.
Yeah, nobody likes a quitter.
That's right.
I'm a postponer. I don't quit.
Very good. All right. Well, let's get into it. So with us for episode 4, I am, as always, very excited. This is a guy that I got to know a little bit last year. He is kind of a big deal in the hard enduro world, especially in North America and in the Commonwealth, I would say. I'm excited. This is our first non-Canadian guest from the Commonwealth. He's newly this year onto a factory team, and we're looking forward to seeing what he throws down with that support this year. So let's get things rolling with Will Riordan from GasGas Factory Racing.
Thanks for having me, Noel. And
Welcome.
guys, thank you. Feel very special.
Yeah, the first Commonwealth guest.
Yeah, how's that?
Yeah,
we're more similar to the Americans, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Australia, Canada, both Commonwealth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Are you still mourning the Queen?
Yeah, that was tough, wasn't
it? Yeah, hard times.
Nah, I'm doing all
right. So normally, and we'll get to this in a second, I'm going to ask you to do your own little brief intro, the high points, and I don't know what your dating status is, but almost like a little Tinder profile version of who is Will Riordan. But the first hard hitting, I don't like to get serious right away, but I'm going to do this time. So I'm going to ask you a pretty hard hitting journalism question here. AC/DC or INXS?
I'm going to have to go with AC/DC because I don't know the other band.
What?
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Exactly what I said that.
It's like the Australian 80s band.
Really? What was it called again?
INXS.
INXS. Honestly, I'm useless with music. I like music. I listen to it all the time, but I don't know bands, choruses. I couldn't tell you a single chorus. I don't know. That part of my brain doesn't exist, I think.
That's hilarious.
No, it says here they were formed in 1977.
Yeah, but they continued. Their biggest hits were in the 80s.
A bit before my time.
I'm pretty old, so.
So is AC/DC though. So
yeah,
that's fair.
But I mean,
I don't know them.
Who doesn't know AC/DC? I mean, look at Tristan Hart. What a nerd, and he probably knows who AC/DC is.
I think he would.
So hey, Will, welcome aboard. Thanks again, and why don't you go? Give us the quick little brief highlights of who is Will Riordan.
Yeah, so I'm Will Riordan from Australia, 21 years old, been living in the United States for 5 years. 3 of those years was in California, and the last 2 in North Carolina. I am single.
And ready to mingle?
And ready to mingle, as always. And I ride for GasGas Factory Racing, U.S.A.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well,
as a rough intro.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
The Tinder profile, usually they want your height.
Yeah.
6'2" on Tinder.
Oh.
do you
6'1", 6'1", 6'2".
Do you have a catchphrase on your Tinder profile that seems to be working? Have you tested a few different out for results, or?
I used to have Tinder, but I used to What did I used to have on there? I don't know. Just Aussie. Just put the Aussie, and hope that
That's
does the
usually
trick.
good enough in
Yeah.
the US, eh?
Yeah.
Nice. And you're also well known as the brother of Gus Riordan.
Yep.
You guys are
Exactly
kind of
right.
like the Lawrence brothers of off-road.
Yeah, both. I don't know about that, but both Australian, that's for sure.
Yeah, and the move to the US and
Yeah,
that
for
whole
sure. And Gus, he's doing really well too. He's actually leading the XC2 class
Two.
this year.
Yeah, he's killing it.
That's
so far.
rad.
Yeah, no, he's killing it. He's good. Little turd. He knows. He knows how to steer.
The first time I met Gus was when he was your quasi mechanic in, I think, Idaho Falls.
Yeah, no, we
Yeah,
make a pretty good team, I'd say. It's pretty good,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
I think when I went to go do a stand up with you, when you were jokingly bitching that he had wrecked the sidewall of your tire as he was trying to change a moose, I think. So.
Yeah, you got to keep. He's my little apprentice. You got to keep a close eye on him. He's still learning the ropes, but no, it's good. He helps me with some of my racing this year. Obviously, it's different. We both got our teams, mechanics, and whatnot now. But last year on RPM, KTM, he'd come help me, and I'd help him, and at his GNCC, so it's pretty sweet.
Well, it's interesting. So one of Jared's best friends came third behind Gus this last weekend at GNCC.
Medagula.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was unreal. Yeah. No, he's good. I know him too. He's cool. I like Tyler.
Yeah. Jared, you want to drop a funny Tyler story in here?
There's too many to count.
He's pretty tough. I know that. He raced Outliers. I don't think we rode with him before, but I was hanging out with him before at Kev Dupuy's house in Calgary. And he broke his finger and then still raced, or broke something. I think it was a bit more than a finger, but and then still raced Outliers, so it was pretty tough.
So what I remember about Tyler at Outliers last year is after the track walk, going back to Calgary and on the prologue morning, just chatting with a little bit and saying like, what do you think after the track walk and everything? Like, what's your thoughts? How you feeling? He's like, whatever. It's like one word, how would you describe it? And he's like, absurd.
Yeah. That's a pretty good word. That suits well for Outliers. Outliers is ridiculous. I'm bummed it's not on this year.
Yeah.
But I guess next year it'll be on. But that one's pretty insane.
It's funny. We had Tyler and Jared and who else? Owen McKill. Oh, so the Canadian men's ISD World Trophy team, of which Jared is a part of.
Yeah.
And we had those guys on and we were talking about ISD. We talked about Outliers a little bit. And then last week we had Shane Cuthbertson, who's the director and promoter of Outliers. He's a good guy.
Did he say why they're not having the event this year?
Yeah. So I think the FIM just said that they're going to do one in North America each year. So last year was Outliers. TKO was on last year, but it wasn't part of the FIM series.
Yeah.
So this year.
Sorry. Yeah, I thought he still would have ran it, even though it's not a world round. But
I think he wanted to, but it's just so expensive.
Yeah.
And it also, I don't know, Jared, like in my mind, like part of it is like maybe it's private land and it gives the land a chance to recover. So
sure. we did chat about putting something on for the year, part of the series, and just a lot of moving parts with it, and letting the land rest for a year, I think is good for it and for the owners. So, and
then it kind of makes it more special too when it does run, like Getzen Rodeo in Germany. I don't know, that's every so often, but so then when it happens, it's a big deal and it's cool,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
so
and like it was
cool.
There's always like a good turnout to Outliers and makes it exciting. And one of the things we talked about is just the way it's set up. Like it's like this natural stadium, unlike some of the other races. So the fans you can see so much of it as a fan.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's a good event, definitely.
What's your favorite memory of Outliers?
Probably in the extinction bit. So the last section, there was 5 or however many hills. Honestly, walking the track, I was like, shit, if I make it to here, like, I don't know how this is going to go because it's insane. The stuff we were riding up was nuts. So, But I guess when you're racing, you get in the zone and you don't think about that, and you just ride what's in front of you. So doing all that, I actually made a position or two in that section too. So probably the last bit of the race, I don't even know how long it was, 5 to 10 minutes. It was a blur, honestly.
Yeah.
It's so gnarly, you just fully locked in and trying not to die.
Yeah, like I mean, I got a great series of just like, 15 frame a second shots of Manny going up one of those last like vertical climbs on Extinction Loop, losing it at the top and just sliding straight down. And I was like, oh man, like, is he going to be able to keep going? Like, never mind him. Like, is the bike, one of the surely him or the bike's got to be totally fucked.
Yeah, you're right. There's no halfway with those hills. You either make it or you don't. And honestly, that's like our next race in Page, Grinding Stone, in Page, Arizona. It's like there's no halfway. You either make it or you don't. So it's full commitment.
I guess the difference between that and Outliers is Outliers was so dry and hot, but you were still going through like axle deep mud in parts.
Yeah, it was weird, huh? Yeah, and then that would carry on. That was weird. I guess that was natural spring water, or
yeah, for the ranch land, right? So and Page, I've never been, and I'm coming down this year, so I'm really stoked to come down and check that out. So
good. Excited. That one's impressive too.
Yeah, and honestly, good for the fans as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit like Outliers with the features, the hills, and the spectating aspect. It's pretty similar, I'd say.
Right on. So I don't know who wants to go next. Jared, Courtney, who wants to jump in here?
Go ahead, Jared. Kick us off.
Oh, no.
Let's go.
First.
Well, all right.
I got deep into the conversation questions.
Well, I'll start us off, but I know for me personally, for riding in general, I'm always striving to pick the best sources of training specifically for riding. Yeah. And do you have like a specific program, types of training that you like to follow, or are you more or less dedicating yourself to just as much seat time versus time in the gym?
Yeah. So I got a trainer, Jared Becker. He's new this year for me, and he's unreal. I like every week, every day is written down and ready to go. You just wake up and click off whatever needs to be done. Normally it's 2 things a day. So like ride in the morning, gym in the afternoon, or a cycle and gym, or if it's a big ride, just one ride a day. On average, probably we ride 3 to 4 times a week on the dirt bike, and then gym twice, and then some sort of cardio another 2 times probably, if that makes sense. So it's always different. Yeah. This year I've been doing a lot more in the gym, which I feel like has helped a lot with strength, which has also improved my endurance, just because being stronger, it's less effort to do certain movements. So then you're able to go further, if that makes sense.
Well, especially over like how long? Like you're a hard enduro guy, and those races are 2-3 hours sort of minimum.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. So, and then also a lot of cardio. But honestly, we haven't done any cycling really. Just because, like, you need a good base, but on the dirt bike, it's base training in a way, not ideal, but in the gym we'll either row or hike. My brother, for example, or the GNCC guys, or the desert guys, they do a lot of cycling, but their races are more, their heart rates are say 170 for the whole 1, 2, 3 hours, however long it is. Where hard enduro, it's up and down, and you're lifting and pushing, and then you're chilling on the transfer.
Yeah, you got those big transitions. Yeah,
exactly.
And then so much of our riding is skill, so it's important to have a lot of seat time to get better on the bike, because you could be the fittest guy, but and not ride good, and it's no good. And so, also the opposite.
Who's the better technical rider, you or your brother?
Technical, I'd say me. Speed, him for sure. He whacks me. Yeah. But I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, it does. No, it's always interesting to see what type of programming people do, but it seems like as far as motorsport related go, everyone is very similar into how you just explained. So
Yeah. And then another big thing is rest, which is also
Yeah.
part of it, you know, which is pretty important.
So now that you're on this,
Probably just saying
Go
that's
ahead,
probably the biggest thing that most athletes miss out. And I know that's something I am terrible at, but I just started monitoring my, body battery, and
Yeah.
I'm like, it's brutal. I need
Yeah,
to.
it's a fine line because obviously
Yeah.
as an athlete, you don't want to be second guessing and like thinking, oh, I should stop riding now. It's been too long. I'll get too tired, this and that. But you
Yeah.
kind of do because you get risk of getting sick, which I had Epstein-Barr two years ago, I think. So
Oh,
from
gnarly.
overtraining, so I learnt my lesson with that. So I'm pretty cautious about it now. But then again, it's all learning, and I feel like I'm getting better at gauging off my body and how I feel and just adjusting.
when I was in my
Totally.
20s, I was a mountain bike and cross country ski racer.
Yeah, right.
Same thing, like overtraining. I got so sick with Epstein-Barr. I ended up in the
Yeah.
hospital for a week, like IV'd up, and
Yeah.
my throat was completely closed. And
holy.
yeah, that was a lesson.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a fine line from, you obviously want to do as much as you can, but then you need the rest. Because also, and I guess this adds to your question, I wouldn't ride over 3 days in a row because then by the fourth day, it's like you're smoked and it's not worth it. Your head's not there. You're just riding around for no reason. So you may as well either rest day or hit the gym or cycle or do something else.
Is this the most structured you've been coming into a season?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Last year, I didn't have anyone. I just kind of got some good buddies. Well, Tristan, one of them.
Yeah.
I'd always ask him questions. And then Lyndon Snodgrass, another Aussie, races GNCC. He lives with us. We all live together, so I'd always ask him questions because he's pretty switched on about that stuff. But yeah, this is the most structured I've been, and I like it.
Yeah.
Cool.
How do you find it with the structure and the rest? Like being told, like, no, like even if you feel good, like you're going to rest today.
Yeah. Honestly, it's good. Rest days are good because we've been going pretty hard. Honestly, so rest days is nice. We don't take too much bribing to have a rest day.
So yeah, you're not too stressed about that?
Nah, and I know now, like as I said, I've made the mistake of overtraining, so I feel like now I've got a better understanding and still learning every time. Next year I'll have a lot more knowledge and, maybe do stuff different, but for right now I do my best.
That's right. What were some of the symptoms when you had Epstein-Barr? Was it kind of like very noticeable, or is it something that trickled in? And I've heard terrible things.
Yeah, it's a tough one to realize, but I think I had it for a while. Like, I don't know how long, but definitely months. I just, like, my races weren't going too well. Like, I get an hour, 2 hours in and just be done, cramping, fatigued, and whatnot. But the final straw was I got a rash on my body, and then a sore throat and everything. So I went to the hospital or to the urgent care, whatever, and got blood tests, and they said, you've got Epstein-Barr. So that kind of answered all my questions. And then I kept getting like strep and tonsillitis. I think when it rains, it pours, as they say.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened to me. And then I ended up having to so I think I got it. I was in the hospital really sick for that week when I was around 21, 22, I think. And then when I was 28, I finally had to have my tonsils out. I'd never had them out. And just because every time I got a little bit sick, like I just would get strep throat and, abscesses, and it was terrible.
Yeah. I was the same. So I ended up getting my tonsils out a few months later after I found out I had it. And then I feel like that solved a few of the problems too.
Yeah.
I wish I could have done earlier, honestly.
I remember when I got mine out, just before I went in, you're just doing the last questions with the anesthesiologist and the surgeon. And the anesthesiologist looks at me. He's like, you're 28, hey? I was like, yeah. He's like, it's going to fucking hurt more than anything you had in your life.
I was not ready.
I was like, thanks, Dick.
Yeah, he wasn't wrong though, huh?
No, it was like 2 weeks of
it's
agony
fucked.
after that. Yeah, I was like, this.
I had
Jeez.
my wisdom teeth out maybe the same year or the year prior, and it wasn't too bad. So
Yeah.
with the tonsils, I was kind of not stressed. I was looking forward to it, getting on anesthesia, knocked out, chill day,
Yeah.
perfect. But it was not good. Honestly, 2 weeks written off.
Yeah,
Couldn't eat,
exactly.
couldn't
Yeah, I'm
shit,
like,
couldn't do anything.
even popsicles, I was like, no, like I never want to swallow anything again.
Yeah, it was gnarly. That wasn't fun at all.
Jeez.
Chilling
Gross.
now though, all good
Yeah, boy.
on the other side.
Do you have your
Excellent.
tonsils?
I have my tonsils. I have those. Yeah.
I don't even know if I do, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you do.
Yeah, now, yeah, Courtney is peering down Jared's throat. Gross. Please stop.
Surely I feel like you should have them because they're a part of your body, but at the same time, I feel like I've, touch wood, been getting less sick without them, so I'm not sure what the best answer is.
I'm old enough that I think most kids my age got them out when they were really young. It was just like a standard thing, like, okay, you're like 4 or 5 or whatever, and we're going to yank your tonsils out. Just prevented it.
Yeah, I don't
not
know.
me. Anyway,
Well,
whatever.
I mean, speak of setbacks, I guess this kind of leads into my other question I had as far as injuries along the way, and if you've ever really encountered major setbacks, and if you have, what were those injuries, and how was your recovery mentally and physically?
Had a few broken bones. I did my femur when I was 13.
Oh.
So that was a while ago, but obviously at the time that was kind of a big deal. But as far as recently, we have a lot of like little stuff, or even like if it's a broken, like last 2 years ago at Page, just before like broke my foot, broke my heel that year too. So it's a lot of just niggling little stuff, I'd say.
Yeah.
But I've touched wood, I've been kind of lucky as far as no massive injuries. Touch wood.
That's a plus.
You came out of that. You came out of that crash. I was deep diving your Instagram there. I think it was TKO last year. That video you posted.
The catapult.
That looked rough.
That hurt. I got super lucky there. So lucky.
When the bike just misses you flying over.
I could have landed on the foot peg and just tore myself up. That wasn't good.
Yeah.
Hit that pipe a bit harder. My hands blew off, and that was that. Yeah. But no, injuries, touch wood, they've been nice to me.
That's good.
Yeah. It's funny when you think hard enduro, like you don't generally think it's like these high violent, high energy, high, really violent mechanism crashes like you see in motocross or, in desert racing and things like that. But it's things go slower, but it is just that extra level of extreme and like the rocks and the uneven terrain. It's really, when you guys start
and
putting
the
feet
elevation.
down, elevation. Yeah.
The elevation is now, but then also enduro cross is kind of the place for bad things to happen.
Yeah, I mean Brandon's crash there in gosh,
that was
Idaho,
scary.
I think. Yeah, that was awful.
Yeah, that was scary.
If you want to see violent hard enduro crashing, that's why I don't race it.
Yeah. I'll do it for you. I'll have the crashes for you. No.
Oh man.
Crashes are good sometimes. Makes you feel alive.
Yeah.
Occasionally. Not too many.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about crashing though, like look at Billy Bolt and, they finally, you knew that injury he had from Germany in January was really bad. And then when they announced the surgery yesterday and what they did, it was just like, what was wrong with him? It's like, how did that man keep going, let alone win every round? Like,
yeah, he's tough. That was pretty cool. Risky.
Just a, Midlands Brit, right?
Yeah. Got the job done.
Yeah, I mean, just incredible. And that he only lost 2 motos after that injury, including, he lost the first moto after he crashed in practice in Germany. And then he lost 2 weeks later, the next round in Romania, he lost the last round where you could just see he was fading. And he knew he'd won the night. So, maybe his heart wasn't quite in it.
Yeah,
I mean,
fair enough.
Just incredible.
Understandable. Yeah, no, he's the man for sure.
So transition, this will be, how long have you been on your new ride now? It's been,
Say December. We
okay.
had, December.
And transition pretty seamless from platform to platform, I imagine? Or were some
Yeah,
things to...
it's unreal. So much easier. Easier in the way that I don't have to do much bike work or worry about
Yeah.
organizing logistics and stuff. Because last year I had to drive to all the races and do bike work, so I'd be up late at night doing bike work. And you got dinner, then you got hydration, you got to rest, and you got to walk the track. Where now I can just focus on me and riding, which is super nice. So transition, it's been easy, too easy.
That's good.
I mean, so you've got Nigel as your mechanic now?
Yep, Nige, he's the man.
Yeah.
Nige is the man.
I mean, pretty cool that you got a mechanic who works so close with Taddy too, right? Like a hero like that.
Yeah, and having Taddy's your first guy too.
Yeah.
Straight to the deep end. I think I'm a bit easier. I hope.
Yeah.
I hope so anyway.
Funny.
Just for the listeners, I wanted to kind of go through, like Courtney with training. I'm always interested in what people have for like, bike setup, what they've learned. We have a lot of people interested in hard enduro in our area. So, is there any particular things that you've learned along the way for certain bike setup that you've liked, little tweaks here and there, or is it all top secret?
Definitely not top secret. Top secret with me. I'm pretty useless at that. I'm retarded at bike setup and knowing what to do.
Okay.
Honestly, I like just a stock bike with stock as in just standard, like nothing too crazy. I've always had my suspension. I'd say suspension is important. Not the most important thing. Tire setup is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And also big on not like, it's tough. Hard enduro beats up your stuff, so you want to protect your stuff, and it's expensive, so you want tough gear, if that makes sense. You're not replacing everything all the time, but less is better as far as you. It's like riding a tank through a rock field. Like it just not as good, compared to a light, nimble bike.
Yeah.
So I've always tried to keep just normal, like a good.
Yep.
Last year I ran the two-stroke performance head and ECU. I reckon that makes it so much. The stock bike's so much better. I reckon that's a must for sure. If you're gonna do something, do that. Your tire set up, and if you got a bit more coin left over, get some suspension. But then at the same time, stock suspension's fine. Good suspension's only good if it's dialed and done properly. Like I think a lot of people get carried away with it.
Like invest your time in setting up what you've got correctly, and then if you get to the point where you're out riding your suspension, then you can look at making those performance upgrades there. Yeah,
and especially for hard enduro, like it's just got to be soft, and stock's fine, for the everyday rider. So as I said, I don't get too carried away with it. Obviously now with the factory team, it's all unreal, but I'm not fussy. I just whatever they give me is good. So
I was looking
you
at
just kind of smile and nod when they give you stuff, like thank you.
Yeah. Hell yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, but no, it's and there's a lot of options as far as suspension and bike setup. But as I said, I'm pretty neutral. Just whatever, keep it the same.
Yeah,
my bike's unreal, so I just keep it. There's no, because if you can go down the rabbit hole so easy of worrying about your bike and thinking about it too much. You mess up a section and you're like, oh, it's the bike, it's this.
Yeah.
Well, I like to think it's me and keep it simple,
Right.
Yeah.
No, what about a go-to bar band? Are you stock?
Oh, good question.
Stock or you?
What am I? Renthal 821s.
Yeah.
So pretty flat pretty flat bend.
Seems like a pretty strong choice for the Austrian manufactured bikes.
Yeah, we do that for, especially in the hills. Like, you don't want a big monkey bar because then it just makes everything so much higher. So I feel like if it's a bit lower, it's a bit easier to ride, a bit more attack mode. But yeah, I've been running the 821s for a few years now. I like them.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you're a tall rider, so I mean, it's interesting to hear that. And then you have tall riders around here who like the big eight hangers.
Yeah, everyone's got their preference. But,
yeah,
I think especially hard enduro, people love bikes that up and get heavy into it. But honestly, I've never really been too into the little gadgets or whatever.
Yeah.
But whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've worked my entire life essentially in a motorcycle industry in the dealerships, and it's always interesting as a racer. I'm pretty much the same as you. I like just, a pretty basic bike, less parts, less things bolted on my bike. But it's always interesting because I work where I sell parts, so it's like, here you could do this, you could do this, you could do this. Well, cool. Do you run that?
No.
Oh, I wish I could.
Yeah.
Man, I'd love to.
Yeah. Although one thing I will say, I do like a clean, fast bike, if that makes sense. Like, I like a snappy, like a clean throttle. I like everything clean and nice. It's all clapped out and feels stiff and feels old. I've never liked that. Gus, my brother on the other end, it could be from the 1800s and he'd be sweet. But I like it feeling nice.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Do you notice a big difference between, I mean, like the platforms are very similar, obviously. Do you notice a difference chassis wise or anything like that between the KTM and the GasGas? Or?
Well, it's the all new model. So last year I was on the old model, the 23, where now we're on the 24. So it's all new. So you can't really compare, I guess.
Fair. With
brands, but again, like, honestly, I got no idea. It feels mint. Feels good.
That's all that matters, really. Just feels good.
No, I love it. I like it. Some people for sure weren't too happy with the new frames and setups, but I like it. I'm pretty comfy.
Yeah, because
I always thought that was interesting because when I heard a ton of feedback, pushback on the new frame, and I actually got last year I just stayed on the old chassis because I was like, oh, I don't know, maybe they need a year to figure it out.
Yep.
And then I got on the bike and I was way faster on it, felt really good, and I was like, oh, what the heck?
Yeah.
Why did I? Yeah. I wasn't so concerned. And now I love it. I love the chassis. It's it's my favorite bike to date, which is awesome. So
yeah. And then also the TBI we're on now, yeah. I think TBI. Yeah. I like that too. The limiter's mad. It sounds so good. I just rev it out of the blue just cause.
Yeah. Yeah, I spent all season on a 250 XC last year. And I don't even know how I ended up getting a 252 stroke. I think it was just kind of like I was going to ride 350s because we race a lot of, faster sprint enduros and stuff. And I was like, I got on a 250 and I remember riding like the grossest, dustiest hard pack and
Alberta.
Where a two-stroke, Alberta, where we live. And a two-stroke shouldn't be faster in those conditions. And I just blew the doors off my lap times of my 350. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm racing this thing all season.
There we go. Yeah. It's funny how, the stopwatch doesn't lie though.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you feel. It's weird sometimes.
Yeah. So what do you ride for hard enduro, and then what do you switch to for enduro cross?
I ride, I'm going to get in trouble here, but the 300 enduro model, I believe that is the
EC,
GasGas 300 EC. The enduro model, and then for enduro cross, the GasGas 350 motocross bike, which I'm not sure the letters. MC, that sounds right. Yeah.
Because there's also the hybrid, right? The
XC.
or
Or
EX.
EX.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what
EX, TX.
yeah. KTM, it's SX,
Yeah.
XC, XCW. But
EXC. There's so many
EXC, yeah.
Is Nigel going to be literally face palming as he listens to you go through this when we drop it?
Yeah, I might get in trouble for that. I'm
That's
still
right.
new.
Auntie's going to be on the phone, and
yeah, as I said, I don't get carried away with the bikes and everything.
I will back you on that because I've been around all the brands for a long time, and for some reason, I can't remember the GasGas ones half the time.
Yeah, and then you got the Husky in there too.
Huskies, yeah.
And they're all 2 letters, and they're all similar. They got C's and M's and stuff, but I don't know. I'm still getting used to it.
F's, I think.
Yeah, F.
Yeah.
But no, that's what 300 hard enduro, 350 motocross.
Interesting.
Enduro cross.
So why is I was actually going to ask you that question. I was looking like some guys are 2-strokes, but there's a lot of guys going to 4-strokes for endurocross. I personally suck at it, so I don't do it. But why is that? Why is that more of a popular choice now?
I think the 4-stroke is just more controllable power, like even power. The 2 strokes can be a bit snappy. And then the 4 strokes don't work for hard enduro just because they're too heavy or they feel heavy, like all the inertia. But for enduro cross, with all the jumps, we need the power straight away, really snappy.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the US, don't get me wrong, they're tight, but I don't think they're as tight as Europe. So I think that's why there's more 2 strokes in Europe because you need the lighter bike and to maneuver it and everything. But in the US, enduro cross is pretty arena crossy. So the 4 strokes, the snappy power, the grunt is pretty important.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's all preference. Some people struggle riding the 4 strokes, but I've kind of always ridden a 4-stroke, so it's fine for me. I like the 4-stroke.
Yeah, it was interesting watching the super enduro courses this season versus the enduro cross courses tracks that I was at last year, and yeah, it was really interesting round by round comparing them. You know, a lot of the European rounds had these big crazy features in them that we didn't really see in the US series. But near the end, it was starting to get, you know, even Newcastle, the last round, I don't know if you watched it, but it looked very much like an AMA enduro cross course.
Yeah. And then we ride the enduro model 300s for hard enduro, so they're more mellow, which is perfect for hard enduro. You don't want to twist the throttle and mill when it spins up and lights up the rocks. You want it mellow, lots of torque. So for enduro cross, you need that power straight away. Obviously, for some of the other brands, they need to ride the 2-stroke just because their 4-stroke doesn't work. I don't know, but for us, 4-stroke for enduro cross.
Very cool. Jared was saying about, you know, hard, gross, dusty Alberta conditions, and you know, you experienced a little bit of that at Outliers, and then to my surprise, a couple weeks later, I saw you in Calgary rolling up to the BFD Fall Moto Super Series motocross race with Tristan.
Yeah.
One day. That was hilarious. I think a lot of people were like, what the shit? You know?
Yeah, the off-road
what are these
boys
guys doing here? Yeah.
Yeah, and Spencer was there with us.
Spencer was there, yeah. That was really cool. And
yeah,
you got to experience hardcore, dry, gross Alberta motocross.
Yeah. Although that day is pretty good. I feel like, it got sketchy. It did get sketchy, it did dry out.
Yeah.
And when you're not training motocross all the time, trying to go fast on that stuff's pretty deadly. But it was fun. I think that was after Outliers, so then we're going into enduro cross. So we're on the 4 strokes, and I was up there training. So that worked out.
You look good out there. You look like you belonged, right? And
I don't know about that, but I used to race motocross actually until I was 12. So from when I started riding when I was 4, did a bit of flat track, bit of enduro, it was big in the town I grew up in. But everything was motocross pretty much until I was 12, and then we got sick of that. It was just a bit serious. I wasn't enjoying it anymore. and always loved off-road. So then we raced off-road till I was, well, obviously still do, but moved to the States when I was 16. And then started hard enduro when I was 17, maybe. So I've kind of done everything.
Yeah, and did you get into racing off-road right away, or?
Yeah, I used to live in Australia. Grew up in a town called Mildura in Victoria, and it's in the desert, pretty much. So it's always raced desert races. Growing up, always in the bush, in the mallee scrub, and then we moved to near Melbourne. I forget how old I was. When I was 12, actually, maybe. So I've always, even though I've always done motocross, or till I was 12, I'd always preferred off-road, and even I used to race works and hare scrambles and whatnot in California or in the States when we first moved over here. And so I'd always we'd be at the motocross track, and from the car park to the track there'd be a K rail, and I'd go hit it, or I'd ride over a pile of logs or whatever. So looking back, I've always preferred the more technical disciplines. But yeah, when I was 17 or 18, that's when I made the switch. Kind of the age you got to pick what you're going to do. My brother was the same. He did kind of everything also, but he chose GNCC and I chose hard enduro and enduro cross.
So how did that move to the States come about? Was that for you guys for riding, or was that family thing, or?
Ours was a bit unique. So we actually come over here for mum and dad's work. Mm-hmm. We always wanted to either come here or Europe. In Australia, we got really good riders. For some reason, we don't have any people, but we have good riders. But you kind of get tapped out. It gets to a point where if you want to make it big time, you either go to the States or go to Europe. So when Dad said, what do you think about going to the States? I was all in. I was like, fuck yeah, let's go. Let's pack the bags. And that was in 2018. Tomorrow. So 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Crazy. I mean, Jared, I think you'd probably say it's kind of the same for riders up here in Canada, where, we got a lot of great riders.
Same thing. It's just the industry's too small. It's like for old sports, really, in Australia. Like you want to be good at baseball, basketball. You move abroad and have a go.
Yeah, It is. It's for sure the same up here. It's kind of a, you gotta, if you're gonna try it here, it's you know what you're going for is limited, is capped in some degree in the off-road side, and you've got to make that decision. And the States for sure is where to be if you want to make any impact through that in the off-road world. Anyway, there is some opportunity in moto, but
we do have Kenny Henderson that's over in Europe racing on Mario Roman's development team. And
yep, Europe's another spot. Here or Europe is where it's at.
Yeah, we had our teammate Cade Walker. He went over to Europe as a young kid for motocross, and he has a wild story of growing up over there when he was 14, I think, when he went over there.
Yeah,
and he literally on his own went over at 14 or 15 and just grew up there, and he's just came back now. He transitioned to off-road like his last year in Europe on racing the enduros, and then he came back last year, got a ride for the NGPC and won the Pro 2, the 250 class.
Yeah. He's unreal.
Yeah, he's an animal.
Yeah, so I've actually so I was lucky. The whole family moved over here, so Gus and I were pretty fortunate. I'd like to think we'd still come over here, ended up here, but I got super lucky with how that worked out, and pretty grateful for that I could come over early and get to it.
So then when you got here, how did the transition work where you kind of progressed to where you guys got picked up by RPM, KTM, and then, you've made your move on to GasGas Factory?
Yeah, so after a year of living in the States, then got picked up by RPM, KTM, which is the support team run by Mike Helbert, and he's unreal. He pretty grateful for him to providing us a platform to go race on and help us out.
Were you still living in California when he found you, or and how did that come
so we're
about?
in California. I don't know. The industry's pretty small. Everyone knows everyone, and just ended up. I forget how. Just networking and talking and just meeting people and trying to do good, and it just worked out luckily.
I think that's an important lesson that we've touched on maybe a couple times already in the podcast, is that it's not always, and I'm not saying you guys aren't fast, because you guys are both fast as fuck, but that is such an important, it's like those soft skills are so important to getting a ride and getting sponsorship.
Yeah, networking. You mean, for sure. Yeah. Networking.
And just being a good person, like realizing how small a community or how small the world is in this sport.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. People ask me, like kids or whoever, ask me how do you get on a team and stuff. But it's kind of, I don't know. There's no one answer. The main one is results, obviously. But it's hard. You just gotta, I don't know, put yourself out there and, as I said, network. But at the end of the day, it's results.
Do you think you were pretty good, and you and your brother were pretty good about being able to express to a sponsor how you would add value to them? Or
yeah, we're lucky with, honestly, I don't even have a resume. I've been lucky in that aspect because RPM,
awesome.
Cool. It was all the team sponsors. So that's why it was easy. Like, everything was dialed, gear, parts, the bike. So I didn't have to go out and look for people. Before, we just had dealership deals, I guess, just the discount stuff, and they'd help us out. Yeah, and then got onto RPM and then transitioned to factory. So, yeah, honestly, I don't even have a resume.
That's cool. I think that's a good. I had a question, to for the listeners looking for that pathway, but I think that says it enough. Is you don't need it on paper if you can show it with your who you are and what you can achieve and the type of person you are. I'm a big believer in that as well. So to me, that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I definitely try and do that, and as you said, don't open your mouth, just do it.
Yeah,
it's hard as it. Yeah, it's tricky though, so I try my best.
Yeah, for sure.
And then how long was it in the works, the move to, because you're the first kind of GasGas U.S.A. factory rider for hard enduro?
Yeah. Always kind of like, so being on RPM, you're always working close, or not close, it's, as I said, it's small. So you're always around the factory teams, and I knew all of them. And as I said, networking, but at the same time, I feel like I'm a chatty, like genuine person. So I wasn't trying to suck anyone off or do anything, so I guess that was nice. Just knowing everyone and becoming friends. And then at the same time, it's a foot in the door also, so it goes both ways. So just from talking to Auntie, the KTM group manager, I'm not sure of his actual position, but he's the man pretty much.
Auntie?
Nagging him. What do you think?
Yep.
Like,
hey.
What's GasGas doing? Because I know obviously KTM was full with Tristan. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And then Husky was full. And I really wanted to stay on this brand.
Yeah, stay in the group, right?
Yeah.
On that platform.
Yep. So just talking and then bouncing back and forth, and I was lucky enough to be the first one in line, I guess.
Right. That's a huge accomplishment. Congrats on that. That's super cool.
I appreciate it. Thank you. No,
I was so stoked when I saw that. I was like, right on.
I was lucky, because there hasn't been GasGas in the past, so it all just come about, and yeah, I'm stoked.
I was like, hey, good for that wanker, you know?
Yeah, little, exactly.
Wanker,
Lucky
that's
wanker.
British.
Yeah, we throw that one around a lot.
Yeah. Wow, that's almost apropos. So you've started out the season. You started out well. Watching that race down at King of the Motos in California was that was a spectacular race to watch. The way it panned out, especially the main, with you guys riding as a pack, like that's got to be one of the tightest hard enduro races that ever was.
For sure, it was tight, and I think we're all closer this year. Us younger guys are getting better and getting closer to the top two, being Tristan and Cody. Yes, that was good. Obviously, I really want a podium, so I wasn't too stoked on fourth, but at the same time, solid starting point, and it was a smooth race. Like I didn't have any big fuck ups or brain farts.
The only major problem I saw you have was like right on the spot off the start coming up Chocolate Thunder. You got bogged down in some traffic and in a bit of a pile up, and you kind of came out mid pack, but you were the first to checkpoint one. Like you and Ryder both pulled your way to the front right away. Yeah,
I don't know what my start was good. I think I was fourth or third or something. And yeah, you're right. Maybe I was a bit further back, but yeah, made those passes quickly, and then I actually led for a bit, and then myself, Tristan, Cody, and Ryder were all together the first lap and a bit of the second, and they kind of broke away, which it was tough, but yeah.
Well, it was unbelievable because I was waiting at the bottom of Chocolate Thunder at the end of the first lap and kind of positioned on that downhill coming into the finish, into the lap. And you hear the helicopter coming, you're trying to look at the app and it's not working because you're in the middle of the desert and you're getting all mad.
Yeah.
Okay, helicopter's coming, at least I know.
Yeah.
And then it was just like Cody, Tristan, you, Ryder, like just like bang, 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 like together. And we were all like looking at each other like, ooh.
Yeah, it was sick. It was good. We're all tight. And even at the end of the race, it wasn't too much either for how long it was. So it was good. Definitely closer and good improvements for myself. So I was happy. Pissed to start with, but I was happy enough.
What's your program look like this year? I assume you're doing all the premier rounds of US Hard Enduro.
All the national rounds, which I think there's 6 to 8,
six or 7 or something.
6, 7, and then the
I forget how many are in Pennsylvania, like 3. So
can't do any of the regionals, unfortunately. So now being on the factory team is a lot more stricter and can't just do what you want.
Is Europe in play, like Erzberg or Romaniacs or anything?
I want to do Erzberg. Hopefully, you can make that happen.
Well, a cool thing about Erzberg last year was you were first in the Iron Road Prologue.
Second.
Second.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Sick. Yeah.
That was like.
That was cool. I didn't expect that.
Was it pretty wild doing that well in that race in Austria? Like just the fan reaction and stuff like that? That must have been pretty dope.
That was cool. For sure wanted to do better in the main race. But it's so big and so different. I feel like the first year is good to just learn. And it's tough to go in guns blazing straight away and do well. So I feel like hopefully this year will be a lot better. But the prologue was cool. That was nuts. And then the podium, which was on the Saturday night at 10 o'clock before the main race on Sunday in the beer tent. God. There was like the people.
I saw the video of the beer tent parties. Like,
fuck, it's insane. Stacking tables up, going crazy. And it's this big marquee and it's packed with, I don't know how many people, but like thousands, like so many people. So that was pretty sick. Definitely a good experience.
Pretty rock star moment.
For sure. And KTM looked after me, so I was pretty fortunate to experience all of that.
They must have been pretty hyped that you came as this like, regional KTM guy from the States.
With the prologue, I think I for sure surprised them. I surprised myself.
Was that the only FIM race you did last year? Other than Outliers, I guess.
Outliers, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no other European ones.
Yeah. So what was, when you look at last year, you look at this year, what are the goals you're setting for yourself?
Podiums. I just want to be on the podium, hard enduro and enduro cross.
Okay.
That's pretty simple, just podiums.
I mean, that's, podiums in either of those are pretty impressive. And I think a lot of people don't realize like how tough the competition is here in North America, because it's all, it's like Europe. And you realize like the races here are so legit and the talent is so real.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Yep. Definitely. But then I've been fourth for hard enduro now I've been the fourth place guy for too long, so I really want to get on the podium consistently. But there's us four really. Yeah. It's tight. They're really good, so it's not easy.
You, Tristan, Cody, and Ryder are just like smashing on each other.
It's tight. It's not easy, but it's good.
And you guys really travel as a squad, it seems like, a lot too.
Yeah, like the sport's small, so honest, I hate riding by myself. I love living in North Carolina, but there's no one really to ride with. So that's why I travel so much. Spend a lot of time with Tristan, which is really good. In Arizona at the moment. Ryder's here also. Rode with him today. And Cooper Abbott. So I like that. We're all cool. We all get along.
What did Cooper have to say about Hawaii?
Said it was slick as shit.
Yeah, it looked nice.
Yeah. He enjoyed it though. Said it was good, but slippery.
Yeah. You went last year, I think?
Yeah, I went last year, yeah.
Yeah. It's a little drier.
Fun. Yeah. So we're all pretty cool with each other and train together, and we all benefit from it.
Are you able to dial back the competitiveness and, you're not smashing each other's skulls in like on the bikes? And
no, it does get like that. It's more of a, how to put it? It's kind of like I don't know how else to put it, but like a dick measuring competition on a practice day. You just go out and do big lines, and which is good because it gets us to push the boundaries and try new things. But it definitely gets out of hand. Bikes cartwheeling.
I remember last year during Endurocross, in between two of the rounds, seeing videos of you guys at the I think at the KTM group track maybe, and you're just running each other off the bike, like just taking each other out.
Yeah. There's a
and then I was asking about that, and you guys were laughing. Like, oh yeah, it was like we're trying to figure out who's going to buy lunch.
Yeah.
I was like,
Tristan's idea. Fucking idiot. Just trying to kill each other on a practice day. But so it does get heated.
You've been up here a little bit riding with Tristan, and did you do some riding with Sam King?
Yep, Kingy. Yeah. He actually. So before the season started, it was just trials. We just rode trials.
Yeah.
So Kingy did some coaching with us, helped us, or helped me. I need the help. So he was a legend. He showed me a thing or two. Alex Walton also stayed with him.
Yeah.
So it was cool to ride trials with them and learn off those guys because I need it.
Yeah, Courtney, you know Sam a little bit.
Yeah, I know Sam really well. We go back to when we were both riding for Beta, and so we've hung out lots and rode together quite a few times, and see him around every now and then. But he's no longer solely with Beta, and neither am I. So, but he's all Sherco now, which is awesome.
Yeah, no, it's for sure a funny time with everyone. It's fun.
Yeah, they're awesome. And even Alex too, like he's such a good trials rider. Like they both are. It's pretty amazing to watch.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, Charles is nuts. Definitely had my eyes opened.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I can watch it and I just cannot. I don't get the math behind how these things perform and these people do it. I tried. I bought one myself.
It's insane. And then Europe would be another level on top of that.
Yeah.
So it's nuts.
It's funny. I know Sam when he first started doing trials riding, back in Australia. with Tim Coleman. He was showing me a video of his first backflip he did off a riverbank, and they had this mattress set up on top of the bank, and they were just doing backflips and landing straight on it. I was like, that is so gnarly.
He's loose.
Yeah.
Backflips off trees.
Yeah, that was nuts.
That's pretty gnarly.
That was so crazy.
Yeah, you look at his Instagram and you're like, what is even going on?
Yeah. So then when we train and go ride trails and everything, it again gets out of hand and bodies and bikes go flying. But that's good.
So you haven't tried the backflip yet off the tree?
No.
Like,
I feel like that would be a cool thing to have up the sleeve. Not backflip off the tree. I'm not interested in that. That's gnarly. But I feel like just to do a mini flip would be cool. But I don't have the nuts, I don't think. That's pretty gnarly.
Pretty sure he did break his, was it a fracture or break in his elbow the first time off that tree, and then went back maybe the next day and did it. But that was crazy.
Yeah. No, that's nuts. He can have it.
Yeah.
He's the man at that.
That's funny. What's your best story from last season?
Oh,
funniest, weirdest?
Best story.
Anything.
And then I got a follow-up second best story that's different, but question for you. But
shit, off the top of my head. I mean, if races go well and if we're in the right time and place, we go out, me and some others go out and to the bars and stuff and have a good time. I'm trying to think of a...
How about this? We're Canadians. Like, this isn't like a Canadian podcast, but we are Canadians. What's your funniest Tristan Hart story?
Fuck. I'm struggling off the top. It's definitely funny. It's good. It's hard to think because there's so many. We have a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's funny when you watch him. Like, if you watch him race, and he's got the robot. He's the robot. He's got that persona. He's so intense. And then you see him outside of the races, and he's a very different dude.
He is different. Yeah. No, we definitely do get up to a lot of questionable stuff.
Did you guys do anything nuts after King of the Motos? I saw you guys ripping out of there in the tundra with your bikes on the back.
Yeah. Well, actually, this is not bad. Bit awkward. The guy that we rented, I definitely shouldn't be saying this, but he's probably going to listen. But it's all, the truck's fine. Nothing happened.
It's not that popular a podcast yet.
Yeah. But anyway, we rented the truck. Oh, I agreed not to tell him. But anyway, we're staying in Johnson Valley, which is King of Motos. I had an Airbnb myself, Tristan, my two buddies from Australia that are racing on the West Coast, and Spencer Wilton. So my two Aussie buddies were also rented a truck, and got bogged down in the riverbed, and then so they were training, and so they got bogged. It started raining, so they rang myself and Spencer, and we're like, "Yeah, we'll come get you in the truck, no problem." And this is Friday afternoon, late afternoon, before Saturday the race. There's stuff to do, supermarket stuff to get organised. So we're like, "Yeah, we'll come get you, no problem." Me and Spencer pull in there, flat out down into the riverbed, and then we get bogged. Turns out it's not a full drive. It had full drive stickers on it, like graphics, but it wasn't. So we got bogged. So now we're stranded in the riverbed out at Johnson Valley, two stuck trucks. It's raining. It's getting dark. We race the next day, first race.
Stress is rising.
Yeah. It was all funny, but then we're like, fuck. Like, we're there for a couple of hours. And anyway, Spenny's buddy come and pulled us out.
With his
van? We got back. Yeah, but no, he had a truck.
Oh, okay.
A proper truck. And then we got back late, and luckily Tristan cooked up some dinner and we got back on track. But that could have been a bit burly. Yeah.
I was in a rental, and I was really happy because I rented for that race a 4Runner. I was like, perfect. It's a little higher up. It's 4-wheel drive. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm all set for the desert. I was like, it's gonna be fun. First night I stopped in LA to visit some family, and I'm driving along the freeway, and I'm like, don't see any levers or buttons about all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive here. Like, I got to their house and I was like, huh. And I Google, I'm like, oh, of course, there's like a base edition for like rental fleets and whatever, and people who never leave the pavement that's rear-wheel drive only. I was like, great, I got a fucking rear-wheel drive SUV to go out in the desert.
Yeah.
And I remember just that, the rain on Friday and being a little worried about that. And then especially the rain overnight on Saturday night and watching people going across the lake bed to get to Chocolate Thunder on the other side of the valley there. It's a pretty intense drive. And I was like, I don't know, like it was so slick in the paddock. I was like, oh my God, like, am I even going to get over there? But then I remember watching Spencer Wilton go in his van. It's pretty easy to identify his big TLD van Sprinter. And he just gunned it. He was going so fast. And
and so funny you say that, because last year, I was there in my van, packed with everything, all the spares, like running my own program. So I had everything in the van. It was myself, mechanic Krusty, and then Tristan. And we're running late. It was Sunday morning. And as you said, it's across the salt pan and then into the dunes, and it's all whooped. We're running late, and I had the van flat out over the whoops, like bottoming out, probably doubled a couple. And then we open the back doors, and it's just a blanket of just bikes, parts, mats, tents, chairs, everything. So we quickly got dressed, Krusty, my mechanic, organized everything, and then we straight to the start line.
That's wild.
Yeah, like I totally get it. Like I went driving around after you guys took off on the first lap with Brendan Petrie's mechanic Quinn and his girlfriend, like, and see if we could catch you guys further east on the track. And we didn't really know. There's not really any good maps. And we're driving along, and we're like, oh shit, like it's the real deal out there. Like, we're out like with the pre-runners from the race, the truck racers.
Yeah, that's my favorite race. That's why I like it, because it's in the desert. We got our GPSs, there's trophy trucks, there's a helicopter in the race. Yeah, it's my favorite. It's pretty sick.
Yeah, it was pretty wild, like talking to people and you see how much the navigation really throws people off. Like, I think it really gets into their heads, the navigation piece. It's like that just last straw for them.
Yep, you've got to for sure keep an eye on that GPS.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
Oh, go.
No, I was going to say, the first year I raced King of Motos, me and Brandon Petrie actually, and another mate got onto the track backwards and got completely lost. Helicopter was chasing us, but we're going backwards on the track and fully just fucked our ass.
Quinn Wenzel this year, he missed the turnoff on lap 3, I think, and did like half of lap 2 again before he fucked himself. Like, just bizarre. I think what I was asking everybody there was like, so, how do you rate your navigation skills 1 to 10? And then like, okay, so, you're a 6. So what are you going to do Dakar? And,
that's the,
nobody,
nobody's, that's next level for sure.
Yeah. Jared and Courtney, what else you guys got that you would like to know about Mr. Riordan?
Well, I always like to ask people, it doesn't have to be motorcycle related. It could just be anything in general. But what is the worst advice you've ever received in life? And what is the best advice you've ever received?
Ooh, big question.
Could be a quote. Could be anything you live by. Yeah. A little bit more close to the heart,
Yeah. Worst advice. Fuck, I'm on the spot here.
Don't run a gummy tire at a hard enduro.
Yeah, you don't need that. You just run a tube.
I'd say just don't. Everyone's different, so everyone's got their different approaches. But for me, it's simple. Simple is best. So if anyone tries to give me advice of thinking too much or shit example, but
that's good
for me. Yeah, just keeping it simple. Best advice. My dad's always. I'll just keep it simple. Give it your best. My dad was always big on that. He wasn't. I guess he was tough on us, but if we did our best, he was happy. Like, it was good. But if we're there fucking around and he's driven 10 hours for us to go ride, for an example, and we're messing around like he wasn't happy and this and that. So I think instead of getting carried away and everything, just again keeping it simple. Just if you're doing your best, that's all you can do at the end of the day.
But that's kind of perfect because like I look at you guys and like you're the squad, or I don't know, you guys probably have like an awesome nickname for yourselves.
The Aussies.
No, like you and Tristan and Ryder and Spencer and all those guys, like the Beanbag Boys or anything like that. No,
no, we don't.
But I mean, when I do watch you guys, what I do see is like guys who are like, do your best and having fun. Like that's what it is, and that's kind of the spirit of the sport, right?
For sure, having fun, that's big for me too. My personality is like I got to be having fun, and I got to be into it to do good at whatever it is. I got to be wanting to do it, if that makes sense. I feel like some people could just like tough it out and just get through it. My brother, for example, but I feel like I really need to have fun and enjoy what I'm doing. So dirt bikes, perfect. But yeah, just having fun's massive. I think for sure some kids coming up now, they can for sure lose that. Yeah, and even now. And you can get carried away with training and it all gets a bit hard, but at the end of the day, keep it fun and keeps it fresh.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have so much like that I didn't have to deal with when I was younger racing my stuff, like trying to make it. So you're trying to, perform at a high level. You're trying to like look after yourselves. And then you got like all these layers of like social media and promotion and like, that whole aspect of it can be so draining, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, exactly. There's two ways to go about it. Like you can either make it in the sport from doing social media stuff or results, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think having both is good, or the best case scenario. But then being really into social media is so time consuming, and you guys know it's no easy task. So I think for me, all my energy and focus goes into riding. That's what I need to focus on. And especially for me, like my personality, I'm not like big into being the star or being the center of attention or anything. I'm pretty low key. So I think me personally, I just focus on racing. Obviously, Instagram's important, which is, in my opinion, for me, shitty because it's another thing to worry about. But I mean, say Billy Bold or Billy for sure, like he's got the YouTube, everything going on. But that's him, that's his personality.
He is
he makes it work. Yeah. Makes it work. Because then also the more following you have, the more sponsors, the more money you can get. Mm-hmm. So it's a fine line, but for now, I think I just need to get results.
Right.
And then the following and I don't want to say fame, but the following, the people will come,
Yeah. Right on. Well, anything else from anyone?
Yeah, how's that the new USWE gear, like that full gear setup?
USWE really sick. Yeah. So that's a good point. Like they're big on Instagram, so I really got to keep on top of that, and do my bit. But it's sick. So it's the first year of them doing it. It fits really good. Obviously, I'll probably just sound like I'm saying this, but I honestly really like it. They've coming out with some new stuff that I'm testing right now. Obviously, their packs are the best. Everyone knows that. But their gear for sure isn't big yet, just because it's so new.
We lost Will here briefly, hopefully, right at the end, of course. But he was talking about his what he's doing with USWE and his gear. And I did notice, and we were talking about Instagram, and I did notice today that he put up a post about you can get a discount with USWE using the code
you gotta say
25. Let me just double check that that's right.
It's Riordan, 25.
Riordan 25, and you can get a pretty sick deal on some USWE gear, which is dope as anything. Oh, there he is. They're back. So it was funny. No worries at all. We were just saying, we were like, well, I'm not sure if we're going to get him back. And so you were talking about USWE and Instagram. And, you know, I saw today that you put up a post that if you're looking for a deal on some USWE gear, if you use code Riordan25,
Yep, good point.
you might be able to cash in.
Yeah, exactly. Get yourself a deal. So Riordan, RIORIDAN, 25 for 25% off. But the gear's been good, and still testing. I think you buy it now. Anyone can get it now. So yeah.
Well, that's awesome. That's exciting. Hey, new gear, like, you know, try not to get excited about gear. But
yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah.
Sharp.
Obviously, I'll keep talking about it, but I just feel like I just, you know, doing what I have to do. But I honestly think it's really good. Looks sick too, as you said.
That's right on. So what's your hot take on the next round of the U.S. Hard Enduro Series Grinding Stone in Page, Arizona?
Yeah, I'm excited. It's 3 weeks out, I think. That one's unique. It's gnarly. Full commitment. That terrain is very unique. The sandstone, it gets trickier as the race goes on because the sandstone breaks down, so then the sand on the rock. Every year it just gets gnarlier and gnarlier. And as I said before, there's no halfway. You either make it or you don't. And if you don't make it, your bike and yourself just go flying down the hill off a cliff or whatever. But
and they're running an enduro cross style race downtown as part of it, like race number 2 or something. About
that. Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah, fired up for that.
Bit of a show for the town. Page is unreal. It's a pretty outdoorsy town as far as motorsport and 4 wheels and 2 wheels all around, and then Horseshoe Bend. Well, I think we'll go there a week early and ride around and stuff and get the feel for it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm driving down, so I'm not sure if I'm going to get there Thursday or Friday, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys and watching that race. Like, it's hard, you know, you're there to be media and, you know, do your stuff and cover it, but it's hard not to fan out and be like, oh my God, I can't believe these guys, like what they're doing, you know, like this is so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's good. It's fun. It's a unreal race too. Jim Flynn does a good job.
Yeah, really excited for that. Right on.
And he's always elevating it and trying to work out how to make it better, which is cool.
Well, Will Riordan, we have taken up way too much of your time.
No, you're good.
Yeah. I don't know if podcasting is on your training schedule, but you did a hell of a job, man.
Yeah.
I'm new to it. No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
No, and thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
No, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thank you.
I've enjoyed it. It's good.
All the listeners, make sure to check them out on Instagram.
Yep.
You can pick up some tips. He's got a sick riding style for, for those of you that don't know that off-roaders haul ass. Check out that form and technique.
No,
give him a follow.
Yeah, and, you know, from the people around here, really enjoyed it when you did show up for motocross. And, you know, I still love that picture of you just completely roosted out except for where your chest protector was.
I don't miss that in hard enduro. That's gnarly. That didn't feel good.
I wish I would have came to that race. I wasn't there.
Yeah, you suck.
Yeah, that was good. It was cool.
For those who do want to follow Will on Instagram, he is will.riordan39, RIORDAN 39.
Yeah.
And are you on the YouTubes these days?
I've got an account. I post some race footage. That's about it.
Yeah.
On there. But now just race footage.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I have watched it.
And as I said before, if you want a deal on USWE, use the code 25% off.
Who does not want a deal? So remember, Riordan 25 to get it.
Americans love coupons.
Who doesn't love a deal? Like, if you don't love a deal, like, you're way too rich to be my friend. Anyway, all right. Hey, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks again, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Take it easy, brother.
Good to meet you, man. Thank you.
Bye. Nice to meet you.
Bye.